Good evening and welcome back. This is me. I'm Ron Flowers. If you haven't seen my face, this is what I look like in real life. And I'm doing some FaceTime because I need your help, right? So, for those of you who know, I teach video game design professionally, and of course, I have the YouTube channel. But my big passion is writing, and nobody really knows who I am. So, I publish my works under Bruce RF. So, Bruce is my middle name, and then my first and last initial. Create some separation between my professional life and my life as a writer, just to have a bit of a gap there. But since I'm an unknown, nobody knows who I am, right? So trying to get a bigger footprint out there sort of in the world, and hopefully my followers, those of you on YouTube or anybody else who sees this, who likes my style of writing, can help sort of push this out. As a self-published author, I have a lot of legwork. So I've published 2 novels, The Life and Times of Dinah Martin, which came out last year, and The Guardian's Path of Ascension, which is scheduled to be released in October of this year. So the issue that I'm having, of course, is that I'm unknown. So if I were to go through a literary agent, there's a pro there, and if I publish through myself or do a self-publishing, there's some pros and cons there as well. So the pro of being through an agency is you have that bigger footprint. You can use their name to kind of get to the door. So New York Times, right, like that. Everybody knows, oh, New York Times bestseller, awesome. But the issue is I have to give a lot of my finances and resources to these agencies to do that sort of thing. Yes, they take the manuscript for free and they do all the editing work, which is a big plus, and they make sure that everything in there is really good before it hits the shelves. That's their job. Downside is I pay them, a big royalty fee and all this stuff, and then they generally pay you up front. So let's say they're like, oh, we like this, we're gonna pay you, $5,000 or $10,000 up front for this amount of books that we're going to push, and then every time they do a cycle, it kind of rinses and repeats, right? Which is kind of nice. The downside, of course, is you're sort of at their mercy, and you kind of have to do what they want. So if you have a certain type of content you want to publish, and they're like, well, we don't want to do that sort of thing, you have to find the correct agent for that. And not every literary agent publishes the same stuff, so you have to kind of farm and kind of do that bit of legwork. And then even though you're paying this literary agent to do this stuff, and they do have that big name, you have to do your legwork anyway for book promotions and marketing and advertising and all this stuff anyway. So the real pro to having them is their name and their editing services, which you can pay for. So I did. So I created my own company. I have a few of them, but I have Bruce Books, and I publish under Bruce RF. And I've written, again, 2 novels, Life and Times of Dinah Martin and The Guardian's Path of Ascension. Now, when I released Dinah, I'll be honest, I didn't hire a line editor the first time around, just because I'm meticulous when it comes to writing. I critique my own work, and I look at stuff. But I do recommend getting a line editor, just because you're going to run into stuff that your brain will filter stuff out. It will hide stuff from you. It will cover the flaws up and bury them under several layers of blankets and say, yep, that's good. And even with the tricks of reading things aloud, which is really good for finding some of those flaws, and I read Dinah hundreds of times between writing the first, second, and third draft, publishing it through writer communities to get feedback, and of course before I released it. And I still found with the hard copy, I was still finding errors. So I did eventually go back and get a line editor to go read through that, and I've continued to use this line editor through The Guardian's Path of Ascension. The version of Dinah that's currently still up has not been updated, so if you were to buy it now, you'd still see some of my flaws. So those are only up for a limited time, but they're there. The Guardian's is on its second edit, and working on the cover art, and I just got the second edit back, actually, so I'm reading it to see what I'm going to keep, what I'm changing, if I have any spelling errors, and so on. So far, haven't really seen any spelling errors at the moment, which is great. We've sort of ironed all those out. But anyway, so those are both available. Dinah's on Amazon. Guardians is currently on my website. That's ronflowersjr.me. And you can do /books to get directly to my books page. I also have my blog there, so you can see what I've been doing the last few months, kind of working on the book. And other things are up there too. I have my artwork. games that my students have made, and that sort of thing is there as well. But I really need your help to kind of spread the word on my works, because without you, there really is no me. So we definitely appreciate that. And yeah, so just a bit of context on the stories. Lifetime's Done at Martin is it's a murder thriller about a girl that had some trauma, not directly to herself, but a friend of hers got hurt, and she took that very personally and decided to take matters into her own hands, and then later became basically a hired gun. So she became like this vigilante and got into this dark world of killing and murder for hire. If you're interested in that sort of thing, it's a pretty good read. I got a 4.5 out of 5 stars on Bookus Publishing when that was a thing, the writer community there. And then I still have it's like 4.5 or 4.6 out of 5 on Amazon. So people who read it seem to like it. I just haven't sold very many of them. So again, I'm an unknown. The Guardians, Path of Ascension. It's a sci-fi fantasy about godlike beings who police the universe. And what has happened is a demigod has basically killed them all off, and there's like 4 of them left. So what they have to do is rebuild the order of nature by finding other energy controlling beings. So they control an energy called ether, and while there's sorcery in this universe, they want beings that can manipulate ether directly. They don't want anybody to have to cast spells, because spells pull from the energy source of this demigod, and that really isn't useful to them anyway. So they want people who can wield ether consciously and willfully without any sort of restrictions. And those are the beings that are likely to ascend and to become new guardians. So they end up finding 5 of them on Earth, and they go there to try to coach them into becoming these godlike entities. But they can't do it directly. They have to kind of do it in a roundabout way, because if they accidentally push somebody to become a guardian of a certain thing, like if there's a guardian of life, and then somewhere else in the universe a guardian of life is occurring naturally, and the 2 of them end up popping at the same time, they both cancel out and destroy each other. So they can't take that sort of risk. They have to be careful and just kind of nurture and coach from a distance. They're sort of in the game, but off to the sidelines, if you want to put it that way. If that's something you're kind of interested in, definitely check it out. Again, it's free for now. The release date is going to be in October of this year, and while I'm sort of going back through and doing some edits and some adjustments and getting some critiques and some feedback, you can definitely check it out for free. But yeah, like I said, there's no me without you guys. So definitely I could use your help, and certainly like, subscribe, share, and I'm on Facebook, Twitter, of course my own site, and I think Pinterest and Instagram, so as Bruce RF. So I think Twitter is Bruce RF1, and Facebook is something along those lines. But if you find somebody who's Bruce RF and they don't look like me, it's the wrong person. So anyway, thank you for your time, and I will catch you in a bit. Oh, one last thing. I'm going to be creating a vlog to kind of go through my literary works, kind of keep up with that as well. So this is sort of that first step in kind of getting a presence and everything. So anyway, thank you, and I will see you next time.